What up? What's going on this afternoon, this evening? How you guys doing tonight? Huh. Ready to get it crack-a-lacking? We are here. This is a pretty interesting time of the season, man. Let me tell you. This is one of the best times of the season. For me, it is one of the best times of the season. So I'm really excited about it because we got the stretch run. It's only, I think, 3 weeks left, 2.5 weeks left in the regular season, 10 games. And with it only being 10 games, all of these are playoff implications. All of them. Oh, I got a guest. Oh, no, I don't. I thought I had a guest. I thought I had a guest. I'm sorry. I thought I had a guest. So anyway, as I was saying, like I was saying, this time of year, it's just really exciting. And the reason why it's exciting is because playoff implications, not just playoff implications, but teams vying for playoff spots, and teams could miss the playoffs. Teams missing the playoffs. That, man, I've already said to you guys. I've already said to you guys, if you have a team that misses the playoffs in the Dallas Mavericks or the Phoenix Suns or the Lakers, right? Or if you have a team that misses the playoffs, it gets real tricky for these dudes. And I don't know, man. I'm wondering how this is going to look, because I've already said to you guys in the past. I've already said this to you guys in the past, that the narrative can change, and it can change really quickly, real quick. I don't think it could change. I don't think it could change over the course of like years. I'm talking about quick. Like if the Lakers missed the playoffs, it's the third time in 6 years these dudes missed the playoffs, right? If the Warriors missed the playoffs, it's the third time in 5 years that they missed the playoffs. Third time in 5 years? They're going to take context out of it. Yep, they're going to take context out of it. And that's going to get tricky. And it's up to you guys who know exactly what it is to fix that. And what I do know is, I know that if the Lakers end up missing the playoffs, I don't think this is a big deal for James, but they're going to make it into that. 100% they are. I think if the Warriors miss the playoffs, this is going to end up being a big deal for Curry. If KD misses the playoffs, it's going to end up being a big deal for Curry. If Luka misses the playoffs for the second straight year, they're going to take context out of it. I'm telling you that right now, guys. They're going to take context out of it, and all they're going to look at is the fact that he missed the playoffs in his prime with Kyrie Irving, completely leaving out Irv was injured for 25 games. Luka sat. They could have made the playoffs, but they chose to sit Luka. Stuff like that is what they're going to leave out. If Curry misses the playoffs, all they're going to say is, well, how do you miss the playoffs 3 times in 5 years in your prime? How's that happen? Like, they're going to leave out the fact that Curry broke his hand and missed the entire season that they missed the playoffs. Or the fact that year was the year that they implemented, and the next year was the year that they implemented the play-in tournament, right? Even though the Warriors were a playoff team, you didn't have to implement the play-in tournament for them. It was already a playoff. There was already a playoff team. You didn't need to do that. You didn't. They were already a playoff team. The Lakers. I mean, the fact that James misses the playoffs 3 times in 6 years, that's half the time he's with the Lakers. And with him missing the playoffs 3 times in 6 years, they're going to leave out he got hurt in 19. It was actually a season-ending injury. He came back. He shouldn't have came back. He should have been done for the season. Then in 22, Anthony Davis missed a good chunk of the season, which would explain why they missed the playoffs. And then this year, it's gonna look tricky. KD, if he misses the playoffs, they're gonna leave out that Bradley Beal missed a good chunk of the season because he's got a bad back, and they don't have a point guard. They're gonna leave out that KD has been playing at an astronomical rate. Over the last couple of games, he's been fantastic. So they're gonna leave stuff like that out. All they're gonna see is, yo, you didn't make the playoffs, and because you didn't make the playoffs, we good on you. Yeah, we good on you, yo. Yes, we straight on you. So, with that being said, I got some power rankings that I want to talk about because, again, this is the time of year, right? This is the time of year when seedings are starting to get hot, right? So, with seedings getting hot, I feel like some teams are going to miss the playoffs, but some teams are going to surprise some teams too, yo. I think that's going to happen. So, with my power rankings, what do I go off? I go off of how you've been rolling, where you've been during the course of you've been rolling, and where I see you going. So, teams like the Miami Heat that were in it, Orlando was in it at one point. Let's see. Philly was in it at one point before they lost Joel Embiid. Teams like that were in it before they lost Joel Embiid. Dallas has been in and out of it. Cleveland was in it, but they haven't really been playing at that high of a level as of late. I think they lost 4 of their last 6. They have not been rolling like they were a little while ago. But who has been rolling is Phoenix at number 10. Phoenix has definitely been rolling. They've won 6 of their last 10, 4 of their last 5. I take KD, me specifically, I take KD for granted. Yes, I do. I definitely take KD for granted because I'm so used to him doing this that I forget how awesome it actually is. And the reason why I forget is because he's starting to break down, even though he didn't do that this season, even though he has not done that this season. But in the past, he started to break down. And because he started to break down, I kind of brushed by the wayside exactly what he was doing. So, like when he's going 58, 50, 83, like that's not normal over the last 5 games. Who else is doing that? Who else is doing that? If he's doing that, there's nobody else. I'm trying to figure out who else is doing that. Over the last 5 games, KD is 58, 49, 83. That's almost 60, 50, and 80. That's what that is. Ridiculously efficient. Not just ridiculously efficient, really good on the defensive side of the basketball, which I wasn't really feeling. And the reason why I wasn't feeling it is off the strength that why couldn't KD play at this level 7, 8 years ago when he was in his prime? Because I think KD was good enough to be an all-league defender. I think he was that good. But the difference is, like, when you guys tell me KD is an underrated defender. No, he's not underrated. He's inconsistent as a defender. Over the last couple of years, he hasn't been. When he was in Brooklyn, he was awesome. This season in Phoenix, he's been awesome. And I think a lot of that's due to him hearing the yapping. Because KD got rabbit ears, just so you guys know. I want to make sure that you guys know that. He heard the yapping and he got rabbit ears. KD is one of the few guys. To be honest with you, they all have rabbit ears, but KD is one of the few guys who actually listens to the chat. And it doesn't surprise me that he does, because that's how the great players get great. Oh, you don't think I can defend? Okay, let's get to the bottom of that. Oh, I can't shoot? All right, I'm gonna go fix that. Oh, you don't think I can handle it? Okay, I'll show you. Right? I will show you. So I don't think that I don't think that give KD. I don't think I give KD enough credit for how he balls. I don't, because KD has been playing really good. 100% he has. Now, the flip side to that with Phoenix is I think they got the toughest remaining schedule. Right? They got the toughest remaining schedule. Their last 10 games are all against playoff teams. All of them, including playing against Oklahoma City. They got to play Minnesota twice, and they got to play the Clippers twice. And I think they exposed the chink in Denver's armor yesterday, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. So I'll be interested to see. I'll be really interested to see how Phoenix responds to their upcoming schedule, because this has huge playoff implications. I think they're in the 8th spot right now in the seedings. I think if they're not in the 8th spot, they're in the 7th spot. I think they're in the 7th spot. Yeah, they're in the 7th spot right now. So they'd have to play Sacramento, who I think Sacramento would have their hands full with Phoenix. I do. Sacramento would definitely have their hands full with Phoenix. But I did see Sacramento go down there and throw them 22 in the hole. And with them throwing them 22 in the hole, they ended up losing it. They had an opportunity to beat them. So that's something that I'm going to look for. At number 9, and you guys know, any of you who know me and listen to me and listen to anything that I've said, I've been out on the Clippers. I've been out on the Clippers since the beginning of the season. I can recognize when they're playing good, but that doesn't mean that I got to be in on them. And I've been out on the Clippers. And at number 9, I got the Clippers, who've only won 2 games since the All-Star break. They've lost 8 to 10 games since the All-Star break. 8 to 10 games. This team, I really don't know what to do with them, because you got 3 of them. You got 3 bigs in Zubac, Dice, and Plumlee. James Harden rebounds also. Right? James Harden also rebounds. You get Russ back in the lineup. Russ rebounds too. So why over the last 4 to 6 games, I think they're like a +2 on the glass. You guys should be dominating on the backboard. You guys should be dominating on the backboard. That's not good enough. No, that is not good enough. James Harden has been actually good. James Harden over the last 5 games, he's averaging 12 assists to less than 2 turnovers. That's a 6-to-1 assist to turnover ratio. That's pretty impressive. That is pretty. James Harden was always a distributor. He could always pass. Always pass. And the fact that he moved into Russ's role, which Russ's role was last year, taking the ball out of Leonard's hands, taking the ball out of Paul George's hands, and letting those guys rest later on, early in games. So when we get late in the game, those guys can take over. Russ can be out of the way. Well, enter James Harden. He does the same thing, except he can actually knock down the long ball. A little bit more consistent. I still think that Russ is a better athlete to this day, but I think Russ has become a rotation guard, and he's been damn good at it too. I think he's been damn good at it. But I'm not loving what I'm seeing from the Clippers right now. I am not. They don't rebound like they should. They do take care of the basketball, which is good. That small lineup that they have in the fourth quarter, I'm a little wary about that, because they go Harden, Leonard, George, Coffee, and I'm leaving somebody out. They usually go, who am I thinking about? They don't go Terrence Mann. They go Norman Powell. That's who they normally go. But Norman Powell was not in the lineup last night. So they went Leonard, George, Harden, Coffee. I'm leaving out somebody. I'm going to tell you right now who they went with this small ball lineup, and it worked, right? And it worked. And the reason why it worked was because Philly went small. That's why it worked, because Philly went, they went Buddy Hield, they went Maxey, they went Kelly O. I'll tell you right now who they went in the fourth. I'm missing. I'm definitely missing somebody. Who did I leave out? They went Harden, Leonard, George, Coffey, Norman Powell. That's who they went, and it worked because Philly in the fourth went Maxey, Harris, Batum, Hield, Kelly O. So that's matching small ball, right? That's matching small ball. Here's the problem. The problem is when you run up on bigger teams like Denver, when you run up on bigger teams like Minnesota, they're going to exploit your size, and you can't just run bigs to the long ball line because these guys defend at the long ball line better today than they did in years past. So because they do that, right? Because they do that, that long ball, that small ball lineup can't work with everybody. So the Clippers got work to do. I'm out on the Clippers. Until I see a parade on Figueroa Boulevard, I'm out on the Clippers. Because remember, they have Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, James Harden, and Russell Westbrook. Why do you think this crew got together? This crew got together for one reason and one reason only. And it wasn't to sell tickets. That's for damn. It was not to sell tickets. At number 8 is the Dallas Mavericks. They've won 5 straight. The biggest beneficiary for Luka has been Gafford. Luka has not had a guy around the rim that he could just throw lobs to all night. Not just throw lobs to, but being that dirty work guy that he's missing. So him and PJ are guys that are around the rim that he can throw the ball to. I mean, Daniel Gafford, I think over the last 5-6 games, he's shooting over 75%. I mean, that's pretty impressive. When all I got to do is just run to the rim. The problem that I'm having with Dallas is when the game slows down and Luka is in front of us, where is he going? Is he just going to go to Leonard? Is he going to go to Irv? What kind of action are they running? Tim Hardaway is shooting 20% on the long ball for the last 5 games. 4 for 14. You can survive for a little bit of time, because I think Luka is the best scorer in the game, right? I think Luka is the best scorer in the game, and I feel like you can survive for a little while. But when you get teams that guard in front of you where they can keep you in front of them, that's a recipe for disaster, because now what you're doing is you're leaving guys like Luka on the long ball line. And I'm cool with Luka shooting the long ball all night. I'm good with that. I will live with that. I will live with, if we get into a 7-game series, I will live with Tim Hardaway shooting the long ball all night. I'm good with that. The problem is Irv getting downhill, because if Irv gets downhill, that opens up the offense like no other, because now the defense completely collapses, and he makes life almost impossible for you defensively. So I like what I'm seeing from Dallas. I definitely like what I'm seeing from Dallas. At number 7, to be honest with you, I mean, if you guys know me, if you know anything about me, you know I'm a huge fan of dirty work teams. You know I love dirty work teams. And the fact that Coach Thibodeau embodies that, that's exactly what the New York Knicks are at number 7. So the New York Knicks, you know, they won 8 of their last 10, including 3 straight. And in the month of March, I don't know if you guys know this, I care about defensive rating, because I do understand it per 100 possessions. Okay, sure, I get that part. What I pay attention to is how many points are you giving up? Because you're not, especially if you're not blowing anybody out on the regular. If you in dog fights, which is what the Knicks have been. They've been in dog fights. What's up, Dre? The Knicks have been in dog fights. So because the Knicks been in dog fights, I care about how many points you're giving up. And the Knicks in the month of March, just so you guys know, the 1st is Sunday. So today's Thursday. We only got 2 more days. Friday, we only got 2 more days in the month of March. They've only given up 104 times this month. That's it. They've got the consummate dirty work team. the consummate dirty work team in Josh Hart, who, I mean, I don't know if there's a better rebounding guard in the league. You might be able to say you might be able to say that it's Luka, but I don't think it's that far off. If it is Luka, I definitely think that it's close between those two. And I think that Josh Hart, his rebounds are a lot bigger. A lot bigger. When you got OG Anunoby, who, with OG Anunoby being who he is, he's the ultimate Tibbs guy. A 3-and-D wing who gets out in transition, right? Who gets out in transition, who stops in transition, who's a damn good on-ball defender. I love that about him. McBride. Tibbs has been forced to play his rotation guys, which I'm hearing people tell me that the Knicks, Tibbs has done a good job with his rotation. Well, he's had to play those guys. He's had to play those guys because he's been depleted. He's only had 8 guys. So he's had to play McBride, right? He's had to play Hartenstein. He's had to play Sims. So he's had to play those guys. And it worked. It's absolutely working. But the dynamic of his team is such a Tibbs team with Josh Hart, DiVincenzo, and OG Anunoby, Precious Achuro. This is such a Tibbs unit. And I think this is everything that he's looking for. The one ingredient, the paprika, the extra spice that's missing, Julius Randle. He's the difference. Because I already know who Brunson is as a scorer and a bucket getter. I already know who he is. It's not news. And the action that the New York Knicks run, they don't really they run action, but they don't really run a lot of action. Like I'll get a dribble handoff. I'll get a pin down. In the process of me getting a pin down, I'll get a cross screen and then come back and get a ball screen with like 11 seconds on the shot clock. But it ultimately ends with Jalen Brunson with the ball in his hands. So, I mean, I feel like that works in some instances, but what's working for them the most is the fact that they defend and that they rebound. That's the biggest difference. The fact that they defend and the fact that they rebound. That's the difference in all of this, man. If them dudes can defend and rebound and get Julius Randle back, the Knicks are going to be dangerous. I think the Knicks are going to be dangerous. And number 6, Milwaukee. Now, just like the Knicks, who they're the epitome of a dirty work team, and guys like Hartenstein, who's shooting 74% from the floor, right? Is giving me 13 and 2 blocks in 25 minutes. There's really not much more that I'm getting from anybody else in that kind of time. There's really not much more that I'm getting. The Milwaukee Bucks have something similar to that. The problem is on the perimeter. Right? They 500 in their last 10 games. They don't defend at all. In the month of March, they only held teams under 100 points twice. That's it. That's it. This is the same Milwaukee team that last year, they shut the door on teams. They were shutting the door on teams. This year, not even close, which is kind of ironic because they're one of the better clutch teams in the league. They're the best defensive rebounding team in the clutch. They're the second best defensive team in the clutch. I think they average the most points in the clutch. So the problem is getting to that point. They find themselves in 12-point holes. They find themselves in 13-point holes, in 8-point holes. And because they find themselves in that, they got to dig themselves out. And who is responsible for them? Who is responsible for them digging themselves out? That would be none other than Giannis Antetokounmpo, who, when the league MVP votes are counted, Joker, Giannis, Shea, Jason Tatum, I think those four guys are going to be in the conversation. I think Luka is too, but I think he's going to be on the back end of that. I don't think he's going to be on the high end of that. I think he's going to be on the back end of that because when it matters. Giannis just does so much for this crew. I mean, I don't know if you guys know this, but I mean, he's shooting 60%. He's shooting over 60% over the last 5 games, and in the process of him doing that, in the process of him doing that, he's playing faster. I mean, the best transition player in the league, I think. I mean, how do you slow him down? That's why I have a difficult time with the logic. Giannis has no bag. Well, Giannis isn't left-handed. So because Giannis isn't left-handed and he handles the basketball with his left hand and he's able to get into the lane with his spin move and he's able to get on the block and open pivot, he's able to get into the paint and get downhill. That's enough for me. I've never resigned myself to the logic of a bag. Jabal had one move. Stop this and you stop me. He had other stuff he could do, but Jabal had the sky hook. Stop this and you stop me. Played 20 years, scored 38,000 points. So a guy in Giannis who doesn't have a bag, it doesn't seem to affect him. What does seem to affect him is getting to the stripe. That's what seems to affect him, getting to the stripe. And because of that, that's what I'm worried about with him. Because I don't know what it is when he gets to the free throw line. It's like he can't turn his brain off. And what I equated to is I don't know if you've ever seen the movie The Matrix. In The Matrix, Neo and Morpheus are having a fight. In the process of them having a fight, Morpheus says to Neo, stop trying to hit me, just hit me. I feel like Giannis gets to the stripe, and instead of him actually making free throws, he's just trying to make them. And instead of him shooting free throws, he's trying to shoot them. Turn your brain off, brother. Shoot the basketball. That's it. We don't have to make this more complicated than it already is. We don't. I still see the same thing defensively that I've seen from them all year long. And that's going to be a problem in the postseason. It is. Because teams are going to hunt Damian Lillard. They're going to hunt Brook Lopez. Brook Lopez is not the defender that he was 2 years ago. He's not. He's not the defender that he was 3 years ago. So when you get Brook Lopez switched on the ones instead of fives, when you get Brook Lopez switched on the wings, he's going to be lunch. He is going to be lunch. When Brook Lopez is switched on to Jason Tatum, Brook Lopez is switched on to Julius Randle, he's lunch. Brook Lopez is switched on to Tyrese Halliburton, he switched on to Trae Young, he lunch. When Dame is switched on to Julius Randle, he's lunch. Those schemes don't work, especially when you got a coach who recognizes them. Who recognizes them? What up, brother? How you doing? He recognizes that stuff. So I worry about that with them. At number 5, I have a team that it's starting to resonate. I'm starting to understand it. It's like, and I gave this example earlier today. It's like in Friday when Smokey goes, "Here come Debo." He's like, "What? Debo coming?" And that's kind of who New Orleans is. It's like they Debo. Like nobody wants to see them. Nobody. I'm trying to figure out what exactly it is about them, but anybody that I talk to wants anything to do with New Orleans. Nothing. And I think that at the end of the season, when the Coach of the Year votes are counted, Willie Green is going to be a lot higher than you guys think. Willie Green is going to be a lot higher than you guys think. I really like his makeup. I like his schemes. I like the fact that he moved I like the fact that he moved Zion to the lead guard. I just think CJ is much better I think CJ is so much better off the basketball. So much better off the basketball. He was better. He played off the ball with Dame in Portland for 7 years. So I think he's so much better off the basketball. And Zion getting downhill, when you got guys who pack the paint, he ain't Ben Simmons. He's not that. He's going to attack you. He is not Ben Simmons, where he's going to get off the ball. You sit in that paint, he's coming after you. It's like a running back where you sitting back waiting for him to run to you. You're not going to tackle him. He's going to truck you. If you think you're going to sit back as a DB or a linebacker, if you think that you're going to wait for Derrick Henry coming downhill, he's going to truck you. I don't care who you. If you're a linebacker, if you're a DB, you're a safety, he's going to run right over you. Well, Zion, if you sit in the paint and think that waiting for him, you're going to be able to stop him, that's not going to happen. He knows how to maneuver his body. He knows how to get to the rim. He knows how to avoid offensive fouls. He knows how to finish at the rim. And he distributes also. Any of you guys who know me know for a fact I am a Herb Jones stan. I love me some Herb Jones. How I talk about the Knicks, right? How I talk about dirty work teams like the Knicks. That's how I feel about Herb Jones. I love everything about him. How he gets in the passing lane, how good he is on the ball, how busy his hands are, how quick he can beat guys to spots, how good he is, how good he is at anticipating. And his wingspan is a lot wider than I recognize. So I dig me some Herb Jones. And the fact that Trey Murphy can knock down the long ball the way he does, this team is going to be a problem. I don't think the Clippers want anything to do with them. Nothing. Oklahoma City is at 4, and they've won 7 of their last 10 games. Shea's scoring has been down. Over the last 5 games, he's only averaging 22 a game. That's a drop-off from the 31 a game that he's averaging during the season. And for the record, J-Dub has picked up the slack. And I'm on record talking about Jalen Williams, a.k.a. J-Dub. He reminds me, more than anybody, he reminds me of a more athletic version of Jamal Mashburn. That's what I see when I see him. Right? What up, Mars? How you doing, brother? He reminds me of a more athletic version of Jamal Mashburn. And you could go to him in the clutch when Shea doesn't have it going. The problem with Oklahoma City is that because they're young and where they are, it's a bit of a divide. And the reason why I say that is because they're young, I want to give them time. But because where they are in the standings, people aren't going to give them time. They expect them to be a playoff. They expect them to be a championship contender right now. When in reality, this team just a year ago at this time, they were a playing team. They get Chet on the roster. He makes the difference in everything that they're doing. Everything. Yes, Mars, Jalen Green's scoring has been going up. Yes, he has. 100% he has. But everything that they're doing, Chet helps that. The problem with that is he's this big. So when we get into the playoffs, the game gets a little bit more physical. The whistle doesn't blow as much. I watched when he came down here, and Bam beat him up. I mean, they ended up beating Miami, but Bam beat him up. 100% he did. Bam absolutely beat him up. So I'm thinking to myself, they're not there. I feel like they're this year's Sacramento. What I mean when I say this year's Sacramento, not necessarily the makeup of the Sacramento Kings, but how they surprised everybody. That's how I see them. I see them as that kind of unit. How they surprised everybody. I did not have the Oklahoma. I'm not going to say nobody because I can't speak for everybody. I did not have the Oklahoma City Thunder at the top of the Western Conference. No, I definitely had them as a playoff team. They were a top 6 seed. Did I have them fighting for the numero uno seed in the West? Did I have SGA in the MVP talk? No, I did not. And again, over the last 5 games, he's only averaging 22 a game. Now, should that affect his MVP race? I'm not going to let 5 games determine the rest of the season. No, I'm not going to do that because he's been having a fantastic season. So, no, I'm not going to do that. Not, absolutely not. Am I going to do that? He's been having a fantastic season. He's been having an MVP caliber season. So, no, I won't. Isaiah Joe is a guy that when I watched Oklahoma City, I'm able to catch some Oklahoma City games. But when I watch them, Isaiah Joe is a guy that I keep my eye on because the way that offense is, how fast they play. When you're looking for guys like that, when I'm a long ball shooter, or if I'm a shooter of any kind, if I know you looking for me, my confidence is through the roof because I know for a fact that it's coming to me and I'm ready. And I didn't know Isaiah Joe had those kind of hops neither. I did not know that. I'd like to apologize, sir. I did not know that you could hop like that. So kudos to you. That is very impressive. I did not know that you can get up like that. So him, I think Jalen Williams coming off the bench, I feel the same way about him as I feel about Najee in Denver. I'm not sure if he makes the playoff roster because I don't think he helps them. I don't think he helps them. And Bismack Biyombo, he's been a disappointment also. He's been Bismack Biyombo and Jalen Williams both. Come playoff time, what exactly do I need from you guys? I need dirty work. That's why I'm on record saying this. When the season is over, you got your big board, right? When you got your big board, who should be at the top of that list? Two guys. Valanciunas and Andre Drummond. Those are the guys that I'm after. The reason why those two guys work is because, one, Chet is a stretch five. With Chet being a stretch five, he does not clog the lane. That allows Andre Drummond to do the dirty work. That allows Andre Drummond to get big underneath the basket and bury guys. So I don't mind that at all. Valanciunas also is a stretch five. And he can spread the defense, but he also cleans glass too. And he's still in his prime. He's only 31 years old. He's still got some years left. He still has some years left. So that's at the top of those two guys are at the top of my leaderboard. And the reason why, because again, guys, remember, not Isaiah Joe, Cason Wallace, Chet, J-Dub, Josh Giddey, all these dudes still on their rook deals. So I got money to play with. And Andre Drummond is not going to come. He's not going to be that expensive. Valanciunas, I don't think is going to be that expensive. So I think that this would work. Depending on how expensive Valanciunas is, depending on how expensive Andre Drummond is, I think this would work. I do. At number 3, you know, like I just told you guys how I feel about the Knicks, the dirty work team that they are. I feel the same way about Minnesota. I'm just higher on them than I am on the Knicks. I mean, they won 6 of their last 7 games. 5 of those last 6 games, they held teams under 100 points. And again, I want to make sure that I preface points per game. I know how you guys, and Mars and I have had this conversation on the panel. Mars is concerned with when you're scoring, how you scoring, are you blowing teams out? Well, Minnesota's not blowing anybody out because their offense gets stagnant. Even though they get really good action, they get damn good action. Their offense gets stagnant. The reason why their offense gets stagnant because they got a 4th-year shooting guard who can be inconsistent. That's why. Add that to the fact that Cat is out of the lineup. So arguably your best offensive player is out of the lineup, and your 4th-year shooting guard, he can be a little bit inconsistent. So they're not really blowing out teams. What they are doing is they're locking teams down. 100% locking teams down. And that's largely due to Rudy, man. That's largely due to Rudy. Rudy makes life so much more difficult for other teams, but makes life so much less difficult for his guys. That's why I don't understand why Donovan Mitchell, who is a damn good defender coming out of college, he was an all-league defender in the ACC. Mike Conley was an all-league defender in the NBA. Like, why weren't these guys better with Rudy Gobert behind them? I don't get that. I don't get that. That part I don't get. Yes, Cowboy, I got your boys at 7. Yes, sir. When you have a guy like Rudy Gobert behind you, that makes Anthony Edwards a better defender. That makes Jaden McDaniels a better defender. Because I got a guy behind me to clean up my mess. And with having a guy behind me like that to clean up my mess, I'm more apt to take chances. Now, I'm not just going to be dumb about it and just fly in the passing lane. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to be smart about it. But I know I can take chances because I got him. I got him behind me. And he's going to clean glass. He's going to rim protect. He's going to man the paint. So I know that I can get higher in the passing lane. and make you start your offense. Instead of starting at 24 feet, you got to start it at 27 feet. And now the shot clock, instead of it being at 14, now it's at 8. You got to hurry up. That's all because I got that big guy behind me. And I can push your offense a little further away from the basket. That's what Jaden McDaniels does. That's what Anthony Edwards does. That's what Alexander Walker does. His role has been expanded. Nas Reed, his role has been expanded. Now, I don't think that they get the same thing that, don't get me wrong, I don't think that they get the same thing that they got when Cat was off the floor. No, they ain't doing that. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is if they could get Cat back, I really like their chances, man. I do. Excuse me. I really like their chances. I do. Can they beat Denver? I think they're the only team in the West that can challenge Denver. If I'm being honest with you guys, I think they're the only team that can challenge them off the strength that they match up with them. And that's what the playoffs are about. It's about matchups in the end. So I'm really liking Minnesota. Hopefully they can get Cat back. Mike Conley's been great for them. Just taking care of basketball. I love that about him. I've always dug Mike Conley as a heady point guard, smart point guard. That's why they extended him 2 years. So at number 2, I got to tell you guys, watching that game last night between Denver and Phoenix, the Dallas Mavericks and the Phoenix Suns, they cracked open the blueprint for you. They showed you this is what you can do to combat these dudes. Okay, what is that? What can we do to combat these dudes? Get on the glass. That's what you can do to combat these dudes. Get on the glass. And I don't mean get on the defensive glass. You're going to do that anyway. Get on the offensive glass. Dallas showed that you jump Joker, you expose Aaron Gordon as a rebounder. Aaron Gordon should be a much better rebounder. Michael Porter Jr. should be a better rebounder. At 6'10", if I'm covering him, or if he's covering me, I'm going to the glass. And when you get a team like Phoenix that gets 11 offensive rebounds, 12 offensive rebounds, that's 36 maximum potential points, 24 minimum second chance points. I don't want to give Phoenix that many opportunities to score again. Hell no. I do not want to do that. I do not want to do that. So if you are Minnesota, if you are Phoenix, if you are these teams, get on the glass. Get on the offensive glass. Jump Joker. Because they don't play fast. So you guys can get back in transition. It's not like Denver is one of these type of teams, right? Like Dallas, who plays fast. No. Or like Sacramento. No, they're not like that. They don't play that fast. They do not. So you can get back in transition, but get on the offensive glass against this team. Create second chance opportunities. And I don't just mean your two bigs, guards, rebound too. Make Jamal Murray block out. Make Michael Porter Jr. block out. Make life difficult for them dudes. Make life difficult for them. I felt like the Denver Nuggets exposed a chink in their armor yesterday. 100% I believe that they did. And at the number 1 spot, I still think it's the Boston Celtics. I do. I feel like they're the best team in the league. I can talk about how good they've been at home. The fact that over the last 6 games, they've won by an average margin of 31 a game. They're smoking everybody that comes into the Boston Garden. Before they lost to Atlanta on Tuesday, they play them again tonight. But before they lost to Atlanta on Monday, they had won 9 straight. So for every 7, 8 games you win, you lose one. I'm cool with that. I have no problem with that. None whatsoever. Now, some people are going to say, well, it depends on who you're losing to. Yeah, it might. But for the most part, when you're winning 8 in a row, when you're winning 9 in a row, when you're winning 7 in a row, then you lose one, you're clearly doing something right. Clearly you're doing something right. So those are my top 10 teams. Yes, those are my top 10 teams. And we had a conversation earlier, and I thought it was actually a really interesting conversation too. Conversation was, I thought, because I had seen this online, and I wanted to bring it to the fellas. It was two. It was two questions. Question number one: third year, Bryant, 1998-99, Bryant, and 23-24, Jalen Green. What's the difference between those two? If you look at them two dudes, what's the difference between them? I think Bryant was smarter. I think he was tougher. Was his skill set more advanced than Jalen Green? I don't know if I'm going to say it was more advanced, but I do think that he had a little bit more than Jalen Green did. But when I look at their games, and this isn't saying, yo, Jalen Green is on his way to being Kobe Bryant. No, absolutely not am I saying that. What I am asking is, when you look at these two dudes, 98-99, Bryant, and 23-24, Jalen Green, what's the difference between those two? I ain't talking about just the numbers. Because if you look up the numbers, you can compare Kobe to a lot of other dudes. If I look up the numbers, I can compare Rudy Gay to Doc. No. Those two dudes are not the same. No way are they the same. So, what hear from you guys? What's going on? I'm interested to hear that. What up?
Yo,
what up?
What's going on?
What's up, brother?
Nothing, man. I'm just chilling, man, enjoying the content, man. You know what I mean? Yeah, I was in and out again, man. Who's your top 10? I didn't hear it. All right.
I got Phoenix at 10, Clippers at 9, Dallas at 8, the Knicks at 7, Milwaukee at 6, New Orleans at 5, Oklahoma City at 4, Minnesota at 3, Denver at 2, Boston at 1.
Yeah. I wanted to, it's a couple weeks left for the season. Like, any dark horses you got out here that can actually like make a run? You know, I'm seeing the Orlando Magic. That's my team and everything, right?
Yeah.
We got a good young team, man. But not from going into play-in last year to now, we in that 4 or 5 range.
Right.
Like we might either play Cleveland, Cavs, or Knicks, depending on who finishes 3 or 4. Whatever, we could finish 4th possibly. You know what I mean? But the first question I want to ask: what chance do you give these cats at least getting out of the first round, possibly? What is that chance?
I'm not there yet, especially depending on who they play. If I'm the Cavs, I actually like the matchup between Orlando than I do the Knicks, because I don't think they could beat the Knicks. If I'm the Cavs,
right.
with Donovan Mitchell healthy, with Evan Mobley healthy, with Jared Allen,
right.
I actually like our chances against Cleveland, because I think I think we can beat them on the glass. I think we can beat them in transition. I think we got a better one-on-one. I think we got the best player in the series in Donovan Mitchell.
Right.
So I actually like that matchup.
Yeah, but I'm saying, the Magic, Orlando, we got a young team, but we, from what I've seen, we don't got any actual big men. We traded away with Vucevic to the Bulls and everything. Like when they had that draft for who did we trade for? It was Wagner, right?
Yep.
We brought back Wagner from Chicago, from the Bulls, right?
Right.
Yeah, we're young, we're fast, you know what I mean? We're athletic. But when the playoffs come around, man, the game slows down.
Yep.
We're gonna have to need that size, and that's the one thing that might kill us in the playoffs this year, with the lack of size, man.
Here's the thing, though, Blue. I think you have that. I mean, Wagner's 6'10".
Right. But he's not like the actual big body, you know what I mean? He's like a small 6'10", you know what I mean? Like in stature.
Bonchero is also 6'10". So I'd like to see Bonchero rebound a little bit more. But the same way I feel about him is the same way I feel about Oklahoma City. Like, I keep forgetting, he only in year 2. So
yeah. We're basically the same team. We're basically the same team as in Oklahoma City. You know what I mean?
I don't want to jump the gun on this crew. I don't. But I feel like they're on their way to doing something special in Orlando. Plus, you got these guys.
Right.
You ain't really paying nobody yet. You still got Bonchero on his rook deal. Right? You haven't extended Franz Wagner. Right? You still got
Cole Anthony. You got Jalen Suggs, Cole Anthony, that backcourt, that whole. Everybody's basically like maybe half the teams on their rookie deals one now.
Yes, which is good. Which is really good.
Right. It gives a chance to develop. You know what I mean? You grow that chemistry and all that.
Yes, it does.
Right?
100% it does. Yes, it does.
Right.
So.
Another thing too, like the teams that are playing in the West. That's caught my eye too. Like out of those four, who do you think can actually make a run at least deep in the playoffs? I think it. I don't trust Phoenix. I'm out on Phoenix. You know what I mean? There's something about them, man. They don't got a point guard for one to slow them down. You know what I mean?
Right.
Actually run their offense.
Right.
I think that from what I've seen lately from the Lakers, this may be like a hot take or some shit or something like that. But I actually like what I'm seeing from the Lakers, man. They kind of impressed me. You know what I mean? What do you think? Out of 14, how far do you think a lot of them can go? What do you think?
So you figure Phoenix would play Sacramento. If the playoffs started today, Phoenix would play Sacramento, and
Lakers would play the Warriors.
And I think the Lakers beat the Warriors. Their biggest problem with the Warriors' biggest problem with the Lakers is they have no answer for him.
Size, Anthony Davis.
They got no answer for him. So because they have no answer for him, I think Golden State is out. But they still got to make the playoffs because Houston's coming. Houston's on their
neck. Houston's on their neck, right on their heels and on their neck.
Yes. With Phoenix and Sacramento, I've seen Sacramento throw Phoenix in the hole. And I not only have I seen them throw them in the hole, I like how Sacramento's offense runs with De'Aaron Fox and Sabonis. I think they could beat Phoenix. But if they don't, they own the Lakers.
That's the problem. That's right. That's the one problem I'm seeing from the Lakers. If I'm the Lakers, I like my chances against Phoenix than I do Sacramento. What do you think?
They own exactly. They own them. They own absolutely. One, they're younger. Number one, they're younger. They play
too fast, too athletic.
Get on the glass. Not only do they get on the glass,
they don't like Sabonis. I see like Sabonis be having AD in a prison, man. For whatever reason, AD can't figure out that matchup. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. It's like a bounce back year for this dude after a couple of years of like falling off with the injuries. But for some reason, the physicality of Sabonis, he can't stand up to.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about Sabonis. It's not like Sabonis is this force like Joker. I don't know. I don't understand what it is.
And we know AD had problems with Joker too. You know what I mean? Yeah. So one more thing, Nick Wright. You know what I mean? For as much as I don't mess with the media, Nick Wright brought up a point to where Lakers might be better off playing Denver in the first round. What do you think about that?
I did hear that, and to be honest with you, Blue, I don't hate it. I don't hate it.
You don't think that might be a kind of a shaky proposition?
No, because he actually makes a lot of sense. Because if you think about it, how much spread out are the first round games? Because you got everybody in the tournament, right? You got everybody in the playoffs. So if the Lakers today is Thursday, we open up on Saturday. We might not play again until Wednesday.
Right.
We might not play spaced out. Wednesday, right? And then when we play Wednesday, we might not play again until Saturday.
Right.
So that's 2 games in a week.
As the playoffs get deeper, games get every other day, especially the finals.
I don't hate that logic. I do not hate that logic. Actually, now, don't get me wrong. They own the Lakers.
That's what I'm saying. Kings and the Nuggets. They done fry the Lakers this season.
I just don't. I do like his idea, but the problem is that they own the Lakers. So there isn't really an amount of rest.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I don't think that there's any amount of rest that's going to help the Lakers against them.
I was just about to get at that. Man. You know, it's a matchup problem. And give the fact that Joker figured out AD last year, what's going to change between now and whenever they beat up again? I mean,
it's not like Anthony Davis is going to start cracking the long ball more. So no, that's not going to happen. So it's going to get tricky, Blue. It's going to get tricky. But I'm going to leave you to it, brother. Good to talk to you, my man. I know we're fine.
Man. No doubt, man. Hit me up, man. Enjoy the content.
No doubt, man. I don't hate Nick Wright's idea. I don't. I actually like his idea. If it was like Minnesota or somebody like that, then I think that's different. And the reason why I feel like it's different is because they actually match up with Minnesota. I think they can handle themselves against Minnesota. It's a younger team, but they do got they have a lot of vets on Minnesota. But with that being said, I just think that's a bad matchup against Denver. That 2-man game that Minnesota has with with Anthony Edwards and Rudy, as opposed to Jamal Murray and Joker. Who do I want to see? I can tell you who I don't want to see. I don't want to see Jamal Murray and Joker. No, I do not want to see those two guys. Absolutely not. No, I don't want to see those guys. So, with that being said, right? With that being said, I don't hate the idea. I just don't like the matchup. If it was somebody else that was at the top of the West, like Oklahoma City, I'm good with that. Because Oklahoma City, they're young. They probably don't need that much space. The Lakers do. And they could probably dispatch Oklahoma City. Because I like that matchup way better. I like that matchup way better than I do them against Denver. Because I think Anthony Davis dominates that series. And when I say dominate, I mean like what he did in 18, when he played against the Trailblazers, when he was in New Orleans. I think he dominates that series. I don't think they have anybody to slow him down. They can't do anything with him. Nothing. And I think Oklahoma City knows that. I think Oklahoma City knows that too. But they got to get in first. Because again, if you look at the playoff, if you look at the seedings, both Phoenix and Sacramento, if Phoenix were to beat them, right? If Phoenix were to beat them and the Lakers were to beat, if Phoenix were to beat Sacramento and the Lakers were to beat the Warriors, that means that the Lakers got to see Sacramento, and Sacramento owns them. They own them. There's nothing that you can do with those guys. Nothing. They're younger, they're faster, don't have the personnel to keep up with them. Sabonis is just more active in the paint. I don't know what it is. It's not like he's more physical than Joker, because he's not. And Anthony Davis can play physical. It's not like Anthony Davis can't play physical. I mean, I watched him play against Giannis a couple of nights ago. Pulled out 23 rebounds. He had 4 blocks. He can play physical. That's not an issue. With Sabonis is a lot more active around the paint. And he knows how to put a body on Anthony Davis in different spaces. It's not just about him being physical. He might catch Anthony Davis with his head turned, and then the shot goes up, and he can put his body on him and bury him underneath the basket. Now, that's up to Anthony Davis to slip that, but with that being said, that's a tall task because it hasn't worked for, what up, NO? It hasn't worked for the Lakers. I just think that that's a bad matchup. They have to see Sacramento. I think the Lakers are out. I think the Lakers are out. And I think that there's going to be some people that think that James is going to go for 50. Good luck with that. I'm not buying it at all. Nope. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it off the clearance rack with found money. Not after I seen how they own them and how they handle the Lakers. Anytime they see them, I think that they bounce them. 100%, I believe that. So I'm just really excited about the postseason. I am. I'm excited about the postseason. I'm excited about what the postseason. I haven't been this excited about the playoffs. I'm always excited about the playoffs. Let's be clear. But this playoffs, I feel like this playoffs is a lot more exciting, considering the implications. Like the Lakers and the Warriors are out. These are two teams I had at the top of the West. Both of them are out. Phoenix, they last 10 games are all against playoff teams. All of them, including 2 games against Minnesota, 2 games against the Clippers, and they got to play Oklahoma City. That's a pretty big deal, y'all. That is a pretty big deal. And I got to tell you, man, I'm really looking forward. I'm really looking forward to these playoffs this year, because I think that it's gonna. I think it's gonna be something else. I do. I think it's gonna be something else this year, because we got some guys, right? I feel like we got some guys that got a lot to prove. A lot to prove. I don't feel like, James has anything to prove. I don't feel like Curry's got anything to prove. The fact that they won the NBA championship in 22, I'm already on record saying that I feel like that solidified Steph Curry. I think that after that, I think he was good. I don't think that there was anything else that he needed to do to solidify his legacy. I think that was it. So it's about that time for me, though, guys. It was good to see you tonight. I will see you guys soon. I'm back on again tomorrow. I'll have some more content for you. But until then, put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive. Hey, man, call your mother. When last time you talked to your mother? When's the last time you talked to your mother? Call your mother, man. She want to talk to you. I will see you guys soon. But until then, take it light. Take it. Absolutely, man. It's good to see you guys tonight. No doubt.